So there is an amazing mod called Code Rebirth for Lethal Company that was already mind-blowing in itself, but recently it had one of the biggest updates so far and it just blew me away. I'll be showcasing all of the big changes it had introduced, as you'll be missing out if you don't at least give this one a try. First off, let's start with something simple but deadly. The tornado weather that came with this mod is now way meaner than usual, and it now pulls you in way harder and deal damage in the process while sending you flying. The world around this mod is also changing, with infectious biome and diverse flora introduced. These infectious biomes now randomly spread across moons, changing their entire color scheme, making things feel way more scenic as a result. Ship upgrades have also been overhauled in this update. There's now a bunch of new robotic companions and they actually do something useful now. One of them is called SWRD-1. This little guy, it's a game changer. It follows you around, picks up scraps, and if it carries enough, it will run back to the ship, drop them off, and return back to you. Oh, and if you're in danger, you can count on it shooting missiles at whatever's messing with you. There's also another companion called CM1. Think of it as your personal radar for traps and hostiles. It follows you, scans for enemies, and if it detects something dangerous, boom, it self-destructs near them, which can even kill immortal things such as the old bird. Now, aside from assault bots, Daisy on the other hand is the ultimate support bot. Daisy can scan for useful items, recharge your gear, lets you teleport back to the ship every 5 minutes by pressing the button on the left side of her head, and unlocks doors and vaults as well. Basically, she's your new best friend. And aside from Daisy, Lizzie is a lifesaver. Literally, it heals any player 150 HP per day and can revive dead players too. Of course, there are other useful and fun bots as well, such as the air control, which lets you set up the ship-mounted cannon, the cleaner, which gives you unlimited TZPs, and the hermit, which doesn't really do much and kinda sits there, but hey, it's cute regardless. Now, if the game wasn't dangerous enough, there's a whole new set of ways for you and your friends to get absolutely destroyed as well, such as the metal box mimic, which sometimes may appear as the normal metal box. When opened though, it will launch the player high up into the air, almost certainly killing them. There's the bug zapper, which will do damage to players once in a while if they are too close when it is discharged. The bear trap is here again, but this time, if stepped on, the player will take damage and will have to manually hold E to release themselves, otherwise they can't move. The air control unit is another addition as well, as it will aim and shoot at players at high elevations, which mostly becomes a problem when using things such as the jetpack. Think of it as an anti-air security. The microwave will drive around the interior and will unleash an explosion in the way the door is facing at. The industrial fan will either pull or push away player depending on which way it is rotating. If the player is put close enough though, they will be sliced and diced. Finally, the last trap is called the flash turret, which blinds the player when they come too close to it. Now obviously, no Lethal Company mod update is complete without some horrifying new monsters. The new Code Rebirth update introduces 6 new monsters to the roster, and here's what they do. The Mana Lord. This dude doesn't just haunt you, he creates a voodoo doll that follows you around. Any damage that the doll takes, you take it too. And when you try to fight back, he spawns butlers and masked enemies to finish you off. Oh, and if you actually do kill him, he drops a needle and the voodoo doll. The Janitor. He picks up scraps and throws it away. If he catches you dropping scrap, he'll try to throw you into the nearest dumpster. Respect the rules or become the trash. The Transporter. This monster moves hazards around. That annoying trap from earlier, yeah, he might just put it right in front of the entrance for you. We also have the Carnivorous Plant. Big, hungry, and if you get too close, it eats you. Pretty simple. The Redwood Titan. Straight out from the Giant Specimens mod. If you hit a tree with a modded weapon, there's a chance that this absolute unit will spawn and will ruin your entire day. And of course, the Duck. This is an unhinged nightmare. The duck will hunt you down and force you into a game of fetch. He'll demand either grapes or lemonade, and you better find it fast, because if you don't, he'll straight up murder you. Oh, and the classic duck song plays while this is happening, just to add to the terror. Now aside from this, scrap, weapons and new musical instruments are also part of this new update. There are 4 new instruments, namely the violin, guitar, recorder, and the accordion. Some of the other new scrap items are also the duck scrap, which are 2 new scrap items that cannot be normally found without having an encounter with the duck, tomato seeds which can be farmed by destroying trees with the new Code Rebirth weapons like the Epic Axe, the tomato and golden tomato which can be grown once in a while to be some sort of passive income, the Nature's Mace which can be used on other players and enemies to heal them up to a total of 80 health, the Spiky Mace which does 2 damage and has a chance of doing 4, and finally the Icy Hammer which can slow down enemies and have a chance to do critical damage. So yeah, this is a huge list of what's new in the Code Rebirth update, and it practically turned Little Company into a whole new game itself. There are a few features that I did not mention here to avoid spoiling for you, but this should be enough so you know what to expect. If you haven't tested this mod out yet, or if you have tried it before, I would highly encourage you to revisit this one, as almost everything feels very fresh right now. I love how much creativity is packed into these updates, and honestly, this mod will just keep getting better.